Thank you, guys. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the New Agenda. My name is Candace New, and I am your host. And I am so excited and honored, maybe a little sad, I don't know what to say, that this is the finale episode, the final episode of Season 4 of the New Agenda. We have had over 60 episodes. You can clap for that. It's fine. Go ahead. Thank you. We've had over 150 guests walk through this show, which is pretty incredible, I think. That's amazing. We've had everything from child actors to big movie stars like Hector David Jr. and Tamara Glenn. We've brought on incredibly smart people who write books, who paint murals. I've had so many people sit on my couch, and I have been so incredibly honored. So first of all, to every single person out there who's been a guest on my show, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much. To every single person who's going to be, hey, get ready, because we are gearing up for Season 5. And let me tell you, Season 5 is going to be phenomenal. So we are adding some new things, and we are bringing about some extra energy and just some other ways to help you stop being dreamers and start being doers. So continue the pursuit, friends, and continue to sojourn with me. So that being said, we're going to get started today. I've got some interesting, amazingly talented people to come hang out with me today. And I met this young lady actually not too long ago and got to host a thing with her last night. The beautiful, the incredibly talented Q. Come on out, darling. Hello. How are you? Welcome to my house. Welcome to my show. You can sit there. You can move those pillows right underneath that little, whatever table thing right there. I'm going to sit here. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I am, assuming it doesn't fall off, you're going to be jealous. But I'm just kidding. Okay. There are definitely some moments where, that's a thing. So I have to sip my tea because I'm an old lady and need to drink tea apparently at this time.
Did your throat hurt from having so much fun last night?
Oh my God, I had such a good time last night. So, you guys, I definitely hung out with this lovely lady last night. We did this Christmas ball. It was called the Harlem Nights Christmas Ball and Toy Drive. We collected all kinds of toys. It was the pile was just so big. It was amazing.
Almost 200 toys.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a great night.
Yeah.
Sponsored by B.O.B. Black Owned Buds. So we had a great time last night. Invited Candace out. She did a couple of interviews with some of the top cannabis producers and owners in the state of New Mexico. So we had a great time.
We had a great time, absolutely. Yeah. So I will say that I probably didn't get up and dance like I really wanted to, so that's great.
Oh, you missed out.
Yeah.
You missed out if you didn't get up and dance.
There was some random guy. I was trying, the 1 minute that I got up to go get myself something to drink because I was dying and needed something hot. Yeah. So I got up and I walked towards the bar, and there was this one dude who literally came up to me. It was like, hey, let me dance with you. And I was like, no.
That sounds like Manny. See, that guy was trying to dance with everybody all night. So
I see how it is. He was just trying to dance with everybody.
Yeah, everybody all night. Everybody told him to back up. He was a little bit too much on everybody.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought somebody was hitting on me. So thank you, though.
Bad.
I'm glad. It's
fine. I just wanted to let you know.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm over it. That's why I'm single, because people don't hit on me.
My bad, Candace. Sip your tea. Yeah, sip your tea on that one.
I got some tea, that's for sure. All right, so I actually met this lovely lady through a mutual friend, Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens.
Y'all haven't really met Jesse, although if you were paying attention last night, if you were hanging out with us on the live stream, then you met him, because I did actually do a little pop-up interview. You guys will meet him in Season 5, so stay tuned, because we got some exciting things happening.
Absolutely.
Hopefully some awesome new adventures.
Hint, out of the country.
Out of the country adventures.
I want my freedom lifestyle television.
I want my freedom lifestyle television. Okay,
Okay,
Jesse, we did it. Have fun. Okay, so anyways, you guys don't know what that's about, so I'm sorry. That was a different thing from last night. That's not mine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you, what you do right now, and then we'll find out how you got there.
Well, a little bit about myself. So I'm a combat Army veteran. So I spent some time in the military. It wasn't for me. I'm gonna let you know that right now. I am not good with authority. So naturally, entrepreneurship kind of like called my name. So when it came calling, I wanted to study my field, which is cannabis. So spent about 11 years trying to get to where I'm at right now. And so I currently own and operate Big Effin Treez. Shout out to the
Big
team.
Effin Treez.
Yes.
Okay, Big Effin Treez. Where did you come up with the name?
Okay, so we were all actually kind of high. We were at the Wiz Khalifa concert. We were trying to figure out names for our cultivation. So Big Effin Treez is actually our cultivation department. The company as a whole is called Bakari Monarch. So we do education, cultivation, manufacturing, consulting, all that good stuff, right? But meanwhile, we're at the Wiz Khalifa concert. We're smoking heavy, and there's a big ass crowd. Big ass crowd of people. Clouds of smoke going everywhere. My cousin's like, man, this is fucking awesome. And I was like, fucking awesome. Big effing. And then somebody yelled, Treez, we got Treez. And I was like,
oh my God.
Okay, big effing Treez. And I was like, all right, get JD on the phone. So JD is our graphic designer. So once we linked up with JD, it was history. Everybody's like, I love that name. Even when we were turning in our applications for New Mexico to get our cannabis license, they're like, yo, that's a dope name. And we were all like, yes, we got it. And then once we put together the logo, it was history. So definitely proud of Big Effin Treez and how far it's come because it's taken years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so you were in the military. Tell me about military life. About your journey in the military.
Oh my God, military life. So I did about 2 tours. So I went to Iraq and I did another tour in Kuwait. It just wasn't for me. You know, being a woman in the military, you kind of have to be a certain kind of character. You kind of have to like lay your emotions down and throw them off to the side and things of that nature, and like kind of like build a strong exterior because you're around males all day, and it was too much sometimes. Like there was incidents. You know, the military is known for sexual assault rates, things of that nature. Thank God it never happened to me, but I did hear stories. But it was just an overall, it's a male's world there.
Yeah.
So pretty much, you know, you have to do what you're told. So say, for instance, a young soldier is being, you know, harassed by a superior. She has no person to talk to because, you know, it goes by rank in the military. So you do what you're told. But I have no complaints about the military. The time I served, you know, for my country, great kudos, but it just wasn't for me. It was too hectic. And then when I got out, you know, they tried to put me on like pharmaceutical drugs from going to Iraq and things, getting PTSD, all this craziness. And so their solution was pills. And so I've never been like a pill taker, never liked pharmaceutical drugs. So of course I found an alternative, cannabis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And tell me about the young you.
Oh, the young me.
You're still young, but you know.
Yeah, I'm 34. I guess that's young, you know. How old are you?
Come on, girl.
Oh, my bad. I'm not supposed to ask her that.
How old do you think I am?
I don't know. She looked like she in her 20s.
Aw,
She looked like
Thank
she in her
you.
20s.
That's right.
Stop playing. But my younger self was quite rambunctious. Like, I never liked authority. I was always a free spirit.
I think that's hilarious. You're in the military.
I mean, that's why I got out, because I didn't like authority.
Got it.
Like,
Yeah.
never liked authority.
You were like, I don't like being told what to do. What are you talking about?
No, exactly.
They're like, do what you're told. And you're like, you know what? I realized that
that wasn't for me. But my younger self, I was always an adventurous person, and then very free-spirited. Like, my mom, she would tell me, like, I talk too much, so I always seen that as a good sign, because I talk to everybody. Like, I always like to talk. And I remember being young, you know, she'd always be like, you know, you can't say certain stuff. I'd be like, why not? You know, I always had a character, like, I should be able to say whatever I wanted to say, and so that developed over the years. And so, you know, naturally, I was a good trash talker when it came to professional football. So I played professional women's football for a little bit. Shout out to the Seattle Majestics, Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
I was a defensive end for 4 years.
I didn't know that they had professional women's football.
Yeah, it's because it's not very known because they don't get paid, and that's another thing in women's sports at all. So,
not at all. I mean, I know like the basketball, you know, league for women is sadly paid, like paid pathetically.
Oh yeah, paid so pathetically that they go overseas to earn, you know, have their income.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not paid at all. Like,
you have to pay to play.
you have to pay to play.
Ooh.
And so I mean, some of these women are like collegiate athletes, like talented athletes. I was an athlete myself and all through high school. So like, you know, they recruit you, like Seattle Majestics, they did a great job. It's a whole organization just dedicated to promoting professional women's football, tackle football. That's not like you're in lingerie and you're appeasing to the male, it's not anything like that. You're wearing pads, you're getting hit, you know, you're running drills, you're sweating, you stink. You win games, we flew places, so it was a traveling league. And like most of the women I played with were dynamic. They were dynamic.
That's incredible. That is so cool. Okay, so I'm not athletic. I played soccer for like 7 years. That's not a long time.
I mean, but soccer is a physical sport. I mean, I see those girls running up and down for like 76 minutes.
I was a goalie intentionally so that I didn't have to run.
Okay, what about getting hit with the ball though? Because I see how fast they kick the ball.
That's valid. And I was a pretty good goalie actually. I think so. I was pretty good. But yeah, you know, getting hit by the ball. Yes, the goal is to catch it, so you're not necessarily hit by it, but I mean, it hits you when you catch it. Or you got to throw yourself on the ground, do some rolls. That was my favorite, is like goalie rolls. I'm like, yeah, watch this. But I learned how to fall because I was a goalie.
I bet.
And so it was like, hey, and so I also was a rollerblader. I still rollerblade sometimes, but.
You know, they got Sunday rollerblading at the Roller King on Sundays, you know, adults only. We can go slide over there if you really.
Okay, so let's talk about what kind of rollerblading I did.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
So I, like, you know, was an aggressive inline rollerblader. Do you know what that means?
Nope.
Okay, so I have special skates that have like grind plates on them so that I can like jump up on like handrails and on things and
okay,
grind
so that's
and do
extreme
tricks.
sports. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the four little wheels you put on your feet.
I know that's what you're talking about. That's why I looked at you the way I did.
I'm not in that league. I'm not in that league. Like that sounds like that's an accident. ER.
I feel like you could have been in that league. Okay, Miss Football. Okay,
I mean, but
I was the only girl in the. Well, that's not true. There was Erica Bell. Okay, so hi Erica, don't judge me. I'm not talking shit.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyways, so yeah, so I did some of that, but I got sick. I have lupus. We talked about that earlier. And I got sick a couple years ago. Well, I got sick a long time ago, but I got diagnosed with lupus in 2016. And I got diagnosed for a number of reasons, but one of the things that I had noticed was that my legs were super weak. And I thought it was just because I was getting older and, you know, I was out of shape or whatever, and I was trying to rollerblade with my friends, and it was like I could not. I couldn't jump up on things anymore. I mean, and like this is like nothing, right? So like there's a ledge at Los Altos skate park that's probably that tall. You know, it's you know, it's not that tall. It's, you know, not a big deal. You know, maybe it's a little bit, maybe like 2 inches above my knee, you know, to jump up on. Not a big deal. And I've been skating on that ledge since I was like 15 years old or younger even. And I couldn't jump up on it. I was like, I literally just, I couldn't land it. I was like, man, and my legs were so like sore and tired. And I was like, man, I'm out of shape. Like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Have you ever tried, you know, cannabis, topical products, CBD products, like rubbing it on your legs? Like, I
haven't, honestly.
You should try it. What do you mean? We live in a state, it's legal now.
Okay, first of all, it just became legal. It just became legal, okay? And I grew up trying really hard to not do illegal things.
Well, it's legal now, so you can, like any, you know, physical
CBD wasn't illegal anyway.
Right,
but,
it's hemp.
Right, but I just, no, I haven't because, honestly, because everybody that I meet that I say that I have a thing, like, tells me something else I should try. And at some point, you just stop caring about what everybody thinks you should try because everybody has an opinion, right? And it's like, well, do you know how many things I've already heard literally today about what I should try? You know, and I'm like, okay.
You know, everyone has an opinion, but for people who actually try it firsthand, like myself, I use CBD topicals, like especially on my back, my knees. I'm a former athlete, former soldier, you know, I got pains. And so, like, you know, instead of getting the injections from the VA, no offense to the VA, I choose to use, you know, topical products like CBD products, cannabis products that I could topically rub on myself, and that alleviates some of the pain. So.
Well, maybe I should try, because I will tell you, even today, like, my legs hurt. And you can always tell when my legs hurt because you can just look outside and see what the weather looks like. And I'm like,
It is pretty cold outside.
Cold and foggy and rainy, and that generally means that I hate myself today. Not as bad as last week, though. Last week we actually canceled a show. I couldn't get out of bed, so last week was rough. So.
Well, I'm happy you're feeling better today so we could do the show.
Me too. I'm glad to be here. So I did make it.
Absolutely.
I'm here. Let's talk about something else.
Right.
But anyway, so so that's how I kind of like learned that I had lupus. That was one of the many things, and that's what it attacks mostly my legs. So It's a thing.
So I just want to throw out there those topicals again. It's legal.
All right, well, send me some. I'll try it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Wink, wink.
I don't know what we're winking about, but yeah. But okay. So you start a big Effin Treez.
Yes.
What else have you got going on?
Oh, I got a lot of things going on right now. So, like I said, that event you went to last night was hosted by Black-Owned Buds. So I'm currently a board member on Black-Owned Buds.
What is that? Oh, yeah, you're about to say that.
Yeah, I was about to tell you. So Black-Owned Buds is a organization dedicated to women, the Black community, brown community, specifically anybody who is interested in the cannabis industry, who wants to get their foot in the door, who wants to learn a little bit more about cannabis, and also the steps needed to actually get into the industry. So we're just there to help the community, enter into the space.
Fabulous. So what's this?
So this is my book, Grow Up's
You can
Manuscript to Wealth. Okay, so boom.
She wrote a book.
I wrote a book.
I'm attempted to write multiple books.
Why haven't you?
I think
It's the sitting down and writing the book, right? That's that part, right? What is it?
I actually am pretty good at sitting down and writing relatively.
So what is it?
I think it's that I change my mind repeatedly about what I want to say. So what I'm not good at is writing narrative books, but we're going to talk about some narrative books here in a minute.
No problem.
I have a half-written narrative that I probably will never pick up again because I wrote it during a time when I was super religious and I'm no longer religious. And so it was a really good story, though, but I was kind of sad that it kind of...
But if you only halfway finished it, you never... If you only halfway wrote it, you still can finish it with how you are right now. That's the greatest thing about being an author. You can always pick it back up.
I know.
When you leave it alone, because this book actually took me 2 years to write. So it was an interesting write. It's actually just a step-by-step tutorial on how to grow cannabis on a large scale and also too at a home level. So I put it in a high school level. Yes, I put it in a high school level so that way, people can easily read it and understand it and follow the steps. I don't want to say Barney terms, but it's Barney terms.
Well, that is incredible.
Yes.
I'm much more into the nonfiction adventures. I've written a lot of like half-written things that I don't know. I guess I come out here and talk about them instead, and that's so much easier.
Is it?
It is way easier.
I think it's easier to put it in a book.
And that is why you wrote a book and I have a TV show.
Yes.
Because honestly, this is like, I got to do this every day and or every week, and I'm fine with it. But
I look at it like this. Both things are timeless if you think about it like this.
I agree.
This book is also in every Albuquerque library and also in La Jolla's library too. So I was able to disseminate the book throughout the entire Bernalillo County library. So that way,
that's awesome.
People can read it for free, or you can also purchase it on our website as well. But definitely made it accessible to the community.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So that way it becomes timeless, just like your show. It's going to be timeless. It's going to be here forever.
That's right. Terrifying. I actually know another writer.
You do?
I know several writers, okay? But I know another writer. She's a good friend of mine.
Really?
And she's recently released her first novel. I think it's her first novel. Don't throw anything at me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But I'm going to bring her on, and I think you guys might have something to talk about. I'm so excited
really?
for you to meet her.
Okay.
So I am super excited to present to you today Miss Melissa Velasco. Hello, darling. I'm so excited to have you on my show today. Welcome back. You can stay right where you are, but just bump this way a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna snuggle.
Okay.
That's right. Welcome to my show. I can't believe that.
Hi.
Yeah. Well, welcome. I realize I haven't been here before. It's so weird to me. But I know Melissa because her daughter Maddie is actually one of my acting students, and so that was kind of cool. And so to kind of hear the journey as it's kind of developed over the last year or so.
From the 17-year-old mind, which is
oh my gosh,
a lovely thing. I love the teen energy, and she brings so much teen energy. Every time I'd slump, she'd hop in, and a lot of actually she'd
That's
come in
awesome.
and be like, "This is what Candace did."
Oh
and
my
it was
God.
amazing because her timing was always good. And I've got a character in that book that is that I pulled some of you.
Oh,
and I haven't
see.
told you that.
Okay.
So wait a minute. You guys have teenage daughters?
I officially have 3 teenagers as of today.
Yes.
Today is my
I have 2.
daughter Isabel's 14th birthday. I guess, she was a teenager for a whole year. Never mind.
So now y'all are revealing your age now if you have
course not.
teenage
Oh,
daughters.
I don't hide mine. I'm 44.
It's fine.
Well, you look great for your age.
Thanks.
I'm
Let's go.
29. I have a 17-year-old and a 13, a 15. I have an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old as of today. Happy birthday, Isabel. A 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I'm just gonna go with I'm 29. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, I'm obviously not, but that's fine. I don't.
Shouldn't have asked.
I'm somewhere between y'all's age.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy being the old lady of the group. This is
Oh, you
great.
are not the old lady of the. So, anyways,
Yes.
Melissa, tell me about your lovely, lovely book. I'm going to go ahead and pass this. I'm going to hold this up. So I know that we have a close up of this lovely, beautiful book cover. So we could start here. I actually know several of these humans.
You
I'm so
do.
excited. Do you want to talk about this cover real quick?
I do. So, how this got going with the covers, and it's why I published the way I did, is I am, as well as Candace, very involved in the acting and theater and dance and television and that community out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the privilege of knowing quite a few of these models that are really popular in the area
Mm-hmm.
and that are doing well. And so my goal with the book covers was I wanted it to look like a movie poster. That
Yeah.
was what I wanted. So I specifically hired my photographer for that and called up a local talent agency that we're both well acquainted with, which is DME Talent Agency. Hello,
Hey,
Deidre.
Deidre.
And I started asking her, who in this town, 2 things, who needs work?
Right.
Because there are so many aspiring models and actors out there that are working really hard and they need an opportunity. And I was
Mhm.
really excited to present that, an opportunity that was paid to them and get them involved. But also, who would have the right spirit for this project? And
Yeah.
I have created this little family of models and actors that are so wonderful, and it's been extraordinary to be a part of. And so that's how that got going, is I wanted live models. I want real people. I didn't want a cover that had a single item or, anything. I wanted people because the book is really about the journey of people, and I've been really excited to get that out. It's a fictional story, and it's a series, and I wanted to create a series. It started off 1 book, and it hit really quick. I knew when I was 16 I was going to write this book.
Okay.
It's actually based on, loosely on the high school that I went to, and it really came about where I was 16, standing in this place, looking at all of these people that were extraordinary individuals, and I thought, I'm going to do this. And it took until I was 43 at the time, and it hit me really quick. And I grabbed my computer, big eyes, terrified eyes, and I was like, oh no, the rest of my life is going to be this. And it hit super fast, and there was a lot of not sleeping, and there was a lot of coffee and hoodies up, tied tight, and sweatpants, and I was like in it.
Yes.
And I've got the first 9 written. The second one is with the
Wow.
editor, and 9 poured out in 1 year. 40 pounds poured off because of the stress and excitement, and all of a sudden I wasn't eating, I was writing, and it was just really passionate.
That's
So,
awesome.
Hollywood High Chronicles, book 1's out. And
So
we're
tell me a
rolling.
little bit about the story. Like, what's it about? I know it's about these kids, this
So,
high school situation, but
It's about a bunch of kids at Hollywood High School, and some of the characters are based on actual people very loosely. It is definitely a fictional story.
yeah.
But there's a spirit, a heart to it that are people I really love. I just have to take a little piece and insert it into this amazing story. But it's metaphysical, so there's a little bit of metaphysical side. I've tried really hard to keep it in the realm of energy work as opposed to it getting too sci-fi.
Yeah.
I've tried to keep it very real. But it's the journey through the eyes of one female. You're inside her head. You're inside her heart. She has a lot of layers. She gets very mixed up. She has a lot of time being both passionate and terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And then she grows really distinctly, and she becomes just this little beast mode mama, and you go with her on it inside her head, and she's got these misfit friends and a misfit life, and she gets in a lot of trouble, and she does a lot of bad things.
Sounds like a great book. I want to take a look at.
Right?
Definitely got to take a look at this book.
And then I brought
Yeah.
you a copy.
You
Just
did?
I did.
Are you
Oh
going to
my
sign
God.
it for me?
I will absolutely.
you?
Absolutely. I
Gonna
brought
sign
you a
copy.
copy
Okay,
too.
good. I'm like, do I
Yeah.
get a signed copy?
I brought extras because I needed to do that. So,
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a great, I mentioned that like, okay, I have some half-written books laying all around. I've written like several like half-written things, okay? Now, I'm not really a person that like starts a thing and doesn't finish it. Like, it's actually not something I do except when it comes to writing.
Interesting.
And I think that a lot of that is because I feel like my writing happens slowly and I grow quickly. And so I get started with a thing because I get very, like, I'll have a moment and then like a fit of whatever, and I'm like writing something. Like when I went through my my second divorce, you're learning so much about me today. When I went through my second divorce, I started writing a book, which I'll probably at some point continue. But I can't remember the name of it actually. It was very cynical, but it was basically about the idea of like debunking the idea and the addiction to the in love phenomena. And so,
That
and
sounds interesting.
I'm very
Yes.
passionate about this particular topic, and it was really funny actually because I don't comment a lot on people's posts, right, on like social media and stuff. And there's this person who made some commentary about like it was like, my toxic trait is that I see crushes as a red flag, right? And I couldn't help but like jump on this post and just be like, so here are all the things, right? And so I went into this whole thing about like, okay, so like maybe having a crush isn't a red flag, but like all the things that go with it, right? Because like having a crush is essentially like that infatuation and that like in love phenomena that's driven by this natural instinct to ensure the survival of the species, right? And literally you just have these hormones that are trying to get you to like, literally, like, whatever that looks like, right? And because of that, we lose sense of all of the like judgments and like objectivity, and so we kind of idolize these people and we don't see their flaws, and we're super like we're more generous and more selfless, and like we kind of turn on our mating behavior and and blinders so that we don't notice the things about them that are red flags, right? So it's like certainly it can be a red flag, especially if you're making decisions or buying things, or don't do any of that. I always say like never make decisions when you are under the influence. Drugs, alcohol,
Love.
You stop and
Stop.
you wait.
Yes, you make no decisions
Sit as
under the
still as
influence.
possible.
Or go with the flow.
Ooh,
No, ma'am.
You and I are opposite on that.
Yeah, nope, I do not.
I go with the flow.
No, I'm actually less inclined. Like, there are things, because I tend to, like, I get excited about projects and I greenlight things. I get that opportunity. This is my life. I get to, like, call people up and greenlight their shit all the time. And I love that. It's my favorite part of my job, okay? Honestly, like, calling up, being like, hey, let's do that project. Like, that is my, like, baby. Like, it's my favorite phone call to make. I am highly unlikely to do that in the circle of, like, if I feel things. I'm like, no,
Interesting.
we do not. People, even if it's just like I just like people a whole lot, I'm like, I gotta pause, I gotta put this through the board. Like, Candace makes no vote. I have no vote. I cannot vote on this project. I am involved.
So you leave it to fate?
No. I leave it to the board. Thank you, board of directors.
Candace, you explained something. Sometimes, and Candace does this with me. She'll get in my head, and she like reaches in there and she pulls out this thing that I've been like grappling with.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, and actually it's been kind of a topic of conversation in my own mind through this writing process of I do very similar, well, I don't know if it's similar, but okay, so I don't do crushes.
You like shut that shit down?
Well, one of the main character is very, people have made the comment, she falls really fast and really hard and it's really permanent.
Yeah.
She does it more than once, but I realize that's exactly it. I don't do crushes. I don't do the like butterflies and I don't do all the like, I just fall, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, what kind of jelly do you want me to go buy at the grocery store? Because we're doing this, you know. I'm just hard and fast that way,
Yeah.
and I don't know that I've made that connection, and now I have to have a conversation with my editor about that because I've got my argument prepared. Because he's got a lot of argument. He's like, you need to make her.
Does she fall in love?
Oh, absolutely. Hard and fast, and it's dirty. It's not in the like dirty. But like, it's
Is it hot
gritty.
and steamy and
It's I
aggressive?
I'm actually not a fan of sex scenes in books. So I lead up to it, and like we almost, I leave and then I drop it. It's like all of a sudden it cuts to the next
rimming.
chapter.
You leave the reader.
Absolutely. The reader can make all the assumptions and thoughts they want. So I'll like rev it and then drop it. I love that. I love that game. It's kind of a mind game. It's fun. Oh yeah.
That gave me chills.
Wow.
I love it.
So, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt.
No.
I was just thinking about this. So what you're saying is that you just fall, like you just
I
are
fall
like
and I'm
all.
done.
Okay, so
Until I'm not done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no, wait, I don't understand. So
I mean, I fall hard and it's good, and I don't do all the like weird crush games.
yeah,
I'm not into the crush games. It's like, okay, well, we're doing this or we're not. I'm very cut and dry that
Yeah.
way. But I go very quickly that way, and then I'm good, and then I'm done.
yeah.
And I'm like, peace.
And that's
Let it
kind of
go.
where I get, like, yeah, when I'm done, I'm fucking done.
Yeah,
like, there's no
done.
change in my mind. There's no looking back. There's no second chance. There's nothing. I'm
Light
just done.
switch off.
Yep.
And light switch on. I don't do all the crush stuff. But that's weird, right? Like, people do the crush stuff.
I don't know, because I feel like the crush stuff is the light switch on. Like, I don't know. But I don't know. So, like, for me,
Or
I'm
it's
like,
a dimmer. I don't like the dimmer.
I don't know that there's a dimmer. Is there a dimmer?
I don't know. I don't know about a dimmer. I just know I go with the flow. Like, if I like somebody, I like them. If they like me, that's cool. If they're for me, they're for me. If they're not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I will say is I'm an extremist on all levels, right? So I'm an extremist. I'm either all in or not at all the time, right? So I've tried to be like cool with like casual things. I'm not good at it.
Oh.
I'm just not. Like, I mean, yes and no, because like also if you know me, then you also know that I'm not. I have a different perspective. Let's go with that. I have a different perspective on relationships than most people. And so there's that. I guess some people think that means I'm a casual kind of person, and I'm not. I just have a different way of viewing relationships. I don't know how we got talking about relationships
me
today.
either.
How did we get here? We
definitely
started
think
talking
it was
about
the book.
weed,
It was definitely the
books, and now we're talking
Hollywood
about
High
relationships.
Chronicles.
And anyway,
Yeah.
but so that's a whole different, what I was trying to get to. So let's get back on track. Holy crap, I went on a whole thing. This whole thing started because I was trying to get to the idea that I have several half-written books, and you asked me why.
Yes.
And so what I was trying to say was that, like, a lot of times it's because I've started to write something and then I've changed my mind about my thought process on it, right? Because a lot of times, like, I'll start writing something because I'm, like, on a rant. And then, I cool down from the rant. Maybe I, like, read and get more intelligent, right? Because that's important. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe I was wrong. So I don't need to keep writing that. Or somebody else already wrote that. Interesting. I don't need to anymore, right? So that's why that happens sometimes. But the other part is because I don't know. Maybe I get stuck.
Writer's block?
I don't know this right. It's like I switched to a different project. So I'm still writing just something else. So how do you guys as writers, stay focused? I feel like I have like ADD in this realm. Like I'm like, cool, I have like 12, 15 different projects going on. And maybe sometimes that's it too. Like I have the demands of work, which require me to do some writing, right? And so it's like, okay, is this project that I'm working on a passion project, or is it a work project? And if it's a work project, well, that takes priority, unfortunately. Or not. Like, I mean, I've written some great things.
The way I do it, I'm really curious what your answer is going to be, because I wonder if we're going to be the same or opposite.
Let's check it out.
The way I did it is I couldn't stop. I didn't have a choice. I got on a freight train.
Tunnel vision.
And it took off. And I was like, there's children and schedules and real life work that's I've got to do every day, and I have to feed these people and get up and drive. I was like, no, I have to be here. And I feel like one of the things about being a writer that's been both a blessing and a curse is there's something real to that stereotype of the writer with the ashtray overflowing and the candy bar wrappers and burrito wrappers and you haven't moved in 3 days, and then somebody calls and you're like, how
Dare you call me?
Like,
Interrupt
I am
my
not
time.
here. Like, I don't
Right.
spend time, I'm here.
Right.
And I'm on another planet. And then I have to go in and, like, I teach dance classes.
Yeah.
So I have to go in and teach. And these tiny humans come to me who I love with every square inch of my heart, but my brain is in another reality.
Right.
And I found that part, that going back and forth was very complicated. So I couldn't stop. I wanted to stop. I begged to stop. I mean, it got to the point where it was kind of a mind screw because the next, oh gosh, book 5's coming. And
It's
I
like
felt like
birthing
it
a
was
child.
just like
Regurgitating.
It just happened.
Everything.
All right, well.
Yeah, it was like either vomit or birth. Those were the choices. It was like, I'm just barfing this up,
Okay.
which was really, I mean, in some ways, I feel like you almost have to wait for that moment because but let me tell you, train leaves the station, you better hold on to your sanity and grab that ass because you are gone. It is crazy.
It is just straight tunnel vision. Like my writing style is tunnel vision. I sit at that Mac and I just go at it. You know, just like you described, like with the candy wrappers, except mine's blunts. I got blunts everywhere. I got water bottles. I got coffee. It's like a whole zone thing. Like I look at the laptop, it looks at me, and it's like I'm in a mode. I'm in a foresight zone.
Right.
Like you're like seeing everything before you even write it. Well, even type it in the laptop, and it's just like it's coming at you, and then. You know, you get tired, you take a nap, you wake up, but it's still inside of you. It's like a passion.
And you're right back.
And you're right back with it. You know, carpal tunnel in your fingers, and you're like, I can't stop this project. I got to keep going.
Got to keep going.
Yeah, and it's more so like tunnel vision when you're writing.
Did time do weird things to you?
Time didn't exist.
Yes.
Time
you
didn't
lose
exist.
time in a really weird way.
Yeah. Like when you start writing, you could spend 6 hours at the laptop, not even know.
And it feels like 5 minutes. My son would walk through the door, who I had just dropped off at school 10 minutes ago. And he'd walk through the door getting off the bus, and I'm like, it's 4. And then I would look down and go, I just lost 8 hours. And I swear I haven't eaten in 4 days. I mean, there was a lot of that too, which was, you know, really odd for me because I was usually a snacker. I would lose all sense of time.
All appetite.
Yes. You're just obsessively purging, and you can't put back in.
That's a
It's
great
really
term,
odd.
obsessive.
Obsessively purging. It has to come out, and it's
And
like
then you think
funneled.
about it when you're sleeping. You think about it, and it's like something that you got to keep going with until you finish it.
I would
And
dream
so,
next sections. Like I would be asleep in like meetings with myself, dreaming next sections, and I would wake up, and sometimes it was like I had 50 pages in my head, which is a scary thing. Because the fingers don't move fast enough.
No,
and
that's
you
like
can't
3 days
voice
worth
to
of
text
typing.
it.
Like
yes, and they just go and go and go, and I'm like calling friends saying, "Can you please pick up my child?
Yeah.
Like I cannot leave here."
Yeah.
And I mean, I get like all shaky and weird. Sorry, but it's like
No, but
it's
that's
an
the truth.
odd experience. Very true.
Yeah.
It's passion.
So I probably don't write like that. I mean, I definitely find my moments of passion, and I've written a lot of poetry that way for sure. So I do some slam poetry, and certainly
maybe you're a sprinter and not a marathoner.
Well, maybe, and I mean, and I think that like I like with the green room, like that was written in spurts, right?
Yes.
It wasn't one sit down. Now Tino and I, who co-wrote with me,
He was my photographer
Yes,
and
he was.
designer on my cover.
Yep. But he and he's a phenomenal writer. So I had the story pretty well written already when he stepped in because I'm just not very funny, right? So he came in to add some airiness, some levity, some humor, and take away from Candace's normal dark and twisty, right? Which was good because we really needed that. And so him and I sat down and did like, God, it was probably like 6-8 hours to finish it. And so that was like one of those. And that was, I think that we had some really great synergy there to just sit down and just start, tearing into this script, and we got it done. So that was really great. I have a different writing partner I'm working with on a different feature right now, but again, we're doing it in pieces. Like I don't, and part of it, maybe it's the way that I organize my life, right? It's like my life is time blocked from every minute of my day is scheduled. And so maybe that's what it is. Like I couldn't, like there would be no way. Like
I
there's
work
no
from home a lot.
Yeah. For me,
Which
there's not
helps.
that option. It's like,
I second that.
yeah.
Working
So-
from home helps, and
Yeah. Well, and I work from home sometimes, but it's like I work from home and at, noon or whatever, my alarm's going to go off and it's time for me to move on to the next thing.
right.
And so,
Nope.
but that's how I accomplish so much. So we're not going to throw away all the things I taught you this year, friends. Keep to those intentional moments. But, that being said, I will say that, I think a lot of what I have found to be effective with getting stuff done, not necessarily writing, because that's something I feel like I haven't necessarily finished.
Mhm.
Some of the things. Now, some of the things I'm like, I put that on a shelf and I don't know that I'm ever going to take it down because I changed my mind. And that's okay. It's okay to change your mind. And that's important.
Definitely.
It's okay, especially if your mindset changes, you're like, I'm just not in that space anymore. And I needed to write that for the purge of getting it out. And maybe I'll revisit it or whatever. And I do think that there is something coming in the relationship world. As you can see, like, I just like, wow, I kind of vomited a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a different thing that I write some other day. But I will say that there's a lot of intentionality when we write. And I think that, yes, I feel like, you sit down and you like have these like moments where you're, in hours and days even, where you're just like pouring it out. But I think there's also a piece that is intentional too about what do we do next and how do we continue and how do we stay on. So before we get into that, I want to pick your brains about that because it's certainly more than just these moments of creativity and these moments of inspiration that you guys have captured and put into paper. And I know that you guys know that. So let's hop over to our intentional moment today, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Perfect.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to this week's intentional moment. Today's intentional moment is a little bit maybe controversial. I'm not sure. Well, maybe not, but we are nearing the end of the fiscal year, not the fiscal year, the actual calendar year. The fiscal year is like something else, right? So as we get down and we start counting down to the new year, everyone starts putting up New Year's resolutions. And I have had so many people be like, don't do a New Year's resolution. And then some like, every year I do a New Year's resolution, but you shouldn't do a New Year's resolution because nobody ever gets it done, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this whole like argument. So for this week's intentional moment, I've got 3 things for you. Number 1, have a New Year's resolution. Why? Because it is just another opportunity for you to set a goal and begin working towards it. That being said, number 2, don't wait until New Year's Eve to start. There is no reason. Start tomorrow. If that's not reasonable, start the next day. But today is December 12th, and it's my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Isabel. And anyway, so it's December 12th. We have 3 weeks still until the new year, and you can start now. You don't need to wait until January 1 to begin thinking about your healthy life choices, to begin deciding to work out again, or to begin rebuilding relationships. Now is actually a really good time to do that. So whatever it is that you're going to resolve to do this New Year's, go through your SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Set a goal for this upcoming year. Get your intentions right. Don't wait until January 1. Get started as soon as you possibly can. Tomorrow is the best time. Today, right now, is the best time, really, but it is late. I know that. So tomorrow, get started. Number 3, and this is really, really, really my intentional moment for today. Have an accountability partner. An accountability partner is a person who is going to check in with you. You need to say, when are you going to check in? Okay, and you're going to check in with them. You guys are hopefully working on the same or similar goals together. You don't have to be. You could be working on your goals and they're working on their goals, and you're just checking in to say, hey, how's it going? How's it going? And to make sure that you have somebody walking with you. You are way more likely to accomplish your goals if you have somebody who's holding you accountable. Your accountability partner also needs to be a person that is actually going to hold you accountable and that is likely to accomplish their own goals, because you're going to be inspired by that positive momentum, right? So you need that positive inspiration and drive and force in your life. So it can't be like your bestie that can't even get out of bed, right? Like, we're going to go back to like intentional moment number 5, where we talk about the 5 most important people in your life, right? So let's revisit that perhaps. But I will just say your goal right now, your intentional moment, is to have an accountability partner for the goals that you're going to accomplish starting now. Set a new goal. Let's get it done. So I'm going to have you drop in the comments if you're watching on live, or if you're seeing this on social media. I'm going to have you drop in the comments who is going to be your accountability partner for the big goals you have this year. If you feel brave and you want to even shout out what your goals are, let's go ahead and put them in there. If you are watching on television, please send us an email at newagenda@katharsismedia.org. Again, that's newagenda@katharsismedia.org. Send me an email. I want to know, what are your goals and who's going to be your accountability partner? What are their goals? So if you're not doing it right now, do it now. Do it right now. Take this moment right now and figure out, what's my goal? You probably already know. You already know what it is. What do you need to work on? What do you need to grow towards? And who's going to be that person? Call them, text them, shoot them an email. That's weird, maybe. Put their name in the comments. Call them out right now. So do it, and I'll see you next week. So, my lovely friends, so I want to know, what are your goals? I mean, I will say for the upcoming year, but I'm not a big fan of the idea of the New Year's resolution. I'm really a big fan of, what are your goals now? And if you don't have one, let's set some. I am that person. I've been told by my friends that I'm a pusher. That's not always a compliment. I've lost some friends because I pushed too hard. They told me their goals, and I pushed them, and then they got mad. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have told me then, because you knew what I was going to do. So I want to know, what are your goals? So I'm doing a couple things. I'll kind of tell you a couple things that I'm doing. One of the big things that I've been trying to be super intentional about recently is, and not necessarily recently, but I have added some people to maybe this little circle, is just being super intentional about my relationships. I get very busy, and weeks go by and months go by, and I realize I haven't even talked to my own father, right? And so I've been super intentional. Monday is kind of my day to I work 18 hours a day on Monday, and so I build in a lot on Mondays, and then my week tapers off towards the end, which is nice. But so I need a lot of love on Mondays, right? And what I realize is that I'm not going to get a lot if I don't give any, right? So on Mondays, I've been very intentional about sending out Monday motivation to my friends, to people that are important in my life, and so this morning, I texted my dad, hi daddy, just to tell him hey, I'm honored to be your kid, whatever, that kind of thing, right? So I've been trying to be very intentional about some of that. The other thing that I'm being super intentional about is waking up an hour earlier, which feels like hell, okay? So I'm waking up at 5 a.m. right now, which sucks ass. Excuse my language. I don't know. This is a choice I might change my mind. But I know that if I can wake up an hour earlier, I can accomplish a lot more. And it's going to force me to go to bed earlier and stop doing that thing on my phone in the middle of the night.
Swiping.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I've
Watching
been plugging my phone in across from my bed, so I cannot reach it. And then I have been super intentional about waking up super early. And so I already have 2 accountability partners. So one, you know her, Deidre Michelle. She is one of my closest friends. And so we decided we were gonna do a nightly reflection, and then we were gonna wake up an hour early. So we've been working on that, which is great. And so she's helping me stay accountable to that. And then my very good friend Diego. Some of you guys have been watching the New Agenda forever, and so you guys have met Diego. And I talk about him all the time. He doesn't actually live here. He lives in Texas, but we've been super good friends for 20 years. So he is supposed to call me every morning or text me and vice versa. But
come on, Diego.
This has been the 3rd or 4th day that we haven't done that. So good times. What are you guys working on, and who are you gonna? And you can tell them now. You're congratulations. Guess what? I'm announcing it on television. You're my accountability person.
Congratulations, Jonathan Roberts and Kirk McDonald. You guys are my accountability partners. Only because you guys are my business partners. Some of our goals rely around being present. We have to stay present this year. And so one of the things that I'm learning is to be present in the moment and not drift off into outer space thinking of the next goals that I have to do. So I just want to practice. Well, one goal is to stay more present. I want to stay present.
Can you specify what is that? How do you do that? What does that tangibly look like?
What that tangibly looks like is actually the task that is at hand, completing that task without getting, sidetracked by the cell phone, the social media, whoever's calling me, the next task or email that I have to send out. It's just staying present, working on that task that I've set for the day. And so pretty much, I think being present also too allows you to enjoy what you're doing and stay passionate.
I love that. So one of the big things that that we've been doing, talking about here on the New Agenda, is a process that I teach. Yay, I weird teach things. But so it's very specific to kind of that same idea, like, and being very specific about management of time. And so we go through like this whole process of like task listing, and then taking that task list and developing or picking out what are your 6 most high leverage items, putting those in a reflection for the day, and then time blocking them into your schedule so that you make sure that you accomplish those 6 most pivotal things. And we talk about what are the 6 most pivotal things, the highest leverage points, like not the most timely, not the most whiny, but the ones that are the highest leverage, and deciding, okay, this is going to take me 60 minutes. I'm going to block that into my schedule. I'm going to do that during this time. And that's why
I love that effect, Candace, because I have a journal and I only take 3 tasks each day.
Yeah.
Like, and if I complete those 3 goals that I set just for that day, I'm doing something.
Right. So I do that with 6. And so the 6 most pivotal things. And afterwards, I'll show you what my phone looks like. I'll show you my calendar. It's actual stupid. But because not because I want you to see how crazy my life is, because it's not. But it's really about like those intentional blocks.
Organized, structure.
Right. Right. And it's literally like there are certain things, like I have some weird anxieties. Okay, like weird ones. Right. Like I know that there are people who want to give me money, and I'm terrified to email them to ask for that money, for example. I know it's weird, but it just feels so heavy. I'm like, what if I fail to do all the things I said I was gonna do? Like those are things, right? So, anyways, don't let me do that. But so I put it on my schedule, and I literally have an alarm that tells me like, hey, it's time to do this thing or whatever, and I have to do it in that time because it's on my freaking schedule. And so that's for me, that's what I do. But we can definitely talk about it. I'm actually teaching another master class. It's called Getting Shit Done, a master class with Candace New. And so I'll be teaching some more of those at the beginning of the year that kind of goes through that process. You're welcome to come hang out with me and join me.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's one of the weird things that I like to teach. I'm really a dork.
I love that.
All right, what is your goal, and who's holding you accountable?
My goal continues from last year.
Yeah.
I have a serious problem of hiding. I become a turtle, and I hide in my shell. And what I end up doing is doing and doing and doing as far as I can do.
Yeah.
And then when I hit a roadblock of, Melissa can't do everything because we don't all know everything, I stop and I become terrified, and I decide that what I'm supposed to be doing is not this, and I'm not worthy. And so what I end up doing now is I've got people in my life who hold me accountable and who also help me. I've been asking for help openly, which is new. I'm not going to say who, because I'm intentionally keeping some of them in the background because they're helping me with things like editing and proofreading and counseling and that sort of thing. But I'm going to continue asking for help because I am not an island. And I have absolutely got to get to a point in my life where I am comfortable accepting help from others, because I'm always terrified that I'm going to bother them, or that they don't really want to do this, or they feel obligated. And it has become this really beautiful place where I've all of a sudden got these really deep friendships with people that I love, and some of them are hired and some of them are friends. But it's deepened my relationship with passion and art and goals and journeys, and that's been really extraordinary. Not being an island has been a really beautiful thing, and I cannot go back to it. I cannot. I have to have people.
Not only that, but people bring so much to the work that we're doing and to the work that we can do. I've always been really big on like collaboration and team building, because I am not an expert in any field.
No,
and there are certain things that I'm really good at, and there's just a lot of things that I'm not. And I feel like we have to have those gaps filled. And I think that those gaps are, I don't do a lot of like the created for or like that kind of thing, but I will say that those gaps make room for somebody else to flourish and to shine and to have their you know, their time as well.
Show their talent.
Yeah,
And
to
to be
demonstrate their
excited about things.
exactly.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's where we, you know, like when it's all my project, whatever. And I do a lot of projects, and you know, I will tell you, like, I do a lot of projects, and I get to be in front of the camera because I want to be in front of the camera. Hi, guys, I'm here. But I don't do any of this. I didn't set up my set. I didn't do any of this. I have a freaking ridiculous team. And I, you know, like we'll sit in a room and come up with ideas. And it's like, hey, let's do this thing. And they are so incredible that they literally jump up like, let's do it. You know, and they're all bringing out their expertise or whatever, you know, and we have the most incredible team. I have an incredible DP, as a matter of fact. I'm going to shout out to her right now, who's standing right there behind the camera. And it's to the point where, like, I step on other people's sets and I become immediately aware of how incredibly blessed I am because our team works with such incredible synergy. Everything happens and everything gets done. And it's this kind of beautiful, magical thing that happens. And when I get on other people's sets, I realize, and I'm not putting down anything anybody else is doing. I'm just saying that our team has an incredible synergy, right? Because we've worked together for so long that it's like they're always checking my blind spots, right? And vice versa. So things are happening and getting done that I guess I'm supposed to do probably. And I didn't know that because they do it. You know what I mean? And so I feel very blessed in that regard because I've also, you know, learned what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But I mean, it's a give and take. Like we all do it. Like we are literally like walking into a project and everyone just kind of like pulls out all their magical abilities. And it's like, here's what I brought to the table. This got fixed and this got done. And it's all like, okay, what's left over? And then we take those and we delegate those out, right?
And so it's also great to have a team too, because like the areas that you're not great at,
Yes.
someone else excels in that area.
And they like doing
so
it.
shout out
And
to the team.
They're excited.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's so cool. And the other thing is it takes the pressure off where all of a sudden you go, I don't have to figure this out.
Right.
That's my big thing.
Right.
Are you really going to help me with this?
Right.
I'm
And
like,
for them, they're like, please let me. This is all I
Yes.
want to do. Oh,
It's
God.
so good.
All right, so I'm getting dirty eyes from the team back there. We are running out of time, friends. Amazing. Not dirty eyes. Not like that. Okay, calm down. But we are about out of time. What is one thing? You have 30 seconds. What is one thing that you might say out there to my audience to inspire them or encourage them to stop dreaming and start doing?
Knowledge isn't free. You have to pay attention. And power is only power if you apply it. So knowledge is power only if it is applied.
Yes. Oh, my God, I love that.
And you are going to mess up over and over and over again because you cannot be an expert at something until you have failed over and over and over. I have rewritten entire books because I failed. And I didn't get scared, and I took it as a learning opportunity, and I kept going. Keep going.
Yes.
Don't
going.
quit.
Do not quit.
And mine kind of goes right in with that. And I will say, get started
Yes.
now.
Do
Stop
it.
waiting on Tomorrowland. This is not Manana Land. This is Do It Now Land. Get it done. Get started. Get up right now. Literally, you're listening to me talk. I'm saying right now. I don't mean like right now, tomorrow. I mean right now. Right now. Get up. Get started. Take that first step. Maybe it's sending an email. Maybe it's setting up an accountability partner. Maybe it's making a phone call. Whatever it is, the first step, get it done now. We are absolutely out of time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love these moments, this opportunity to just glean from incredibly talented people and meet so many incredible people. So thank you so much. It's time for a new agenda.
A new agenda!